Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Please accept my obeisances.
All glories to
And
Srila Prabhupada.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So good to see both of you. So, as we know, Osh Guru Prabhu and Chaitanya Mataji will not join today. And Purna Sundari Mataji will be, expects to be 10 minutes, joining 10 minutes later. And we don't know yet about Indika Prabhu. So let's see. And let's then chant our prayers to make it really auspicious, this empathic communication, learning and practicing. Mama Kyanatimirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. My voice is today a bit weak. Let's hope that warm tea helps. All right, we are starting our 7th session out of 10 sessions of seeking harmony within and without workshops. And I wonder if there is anybody who would like to share something about home practice. And home practice was about observations versus evaluations, to just practice guessing what is being observed behind the thoughts, and make guesses what's being seen or heard. And the other part of the home practice was to finalize this individual handout, what keeps me from making request. Any sharings, celebrations, or questions, or
Hare Krishna. Dhanvat Pranam to all. Yes, regarding this observations and evaluations, I'd like to share an image which I had seen quite long back, but instantly it came back to me, and luckily I found it back in Google. So I don't know if, with your permission, if I may share screen. I mean, I can send it in WhatsApp also, but
I make you.
It will become a part of the recording.
Yes, so that means I need to make you co-host, right?
Okay.
Let me see. Where is it? Oh, okay. Yes, and Janananda Prabhu also needs to be made the co-host. Yes. Okay. Yes, please. Asha Prabhu.
Yes, just give me a second. Just please let me know if you can see that.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, so you can see on the top who is the killer and who is the survivor of the abuse. But then you see how it has been projected below. So, you know, the survivor becomes the killer. The roles are interchanged. And it just comes to me, you know, the blunder we may do in our evaluations based on our observations, because our observations themselves can be limited. And so I'll share this in the WhatsApp group also. And it's a beautiful image that also illustrates the 4 defects, which Prabhupada repeatedly shares across his books. You know, the 4 defects: we have imperfect senses, we have a tendency to be illusioned, we commit mistakes, and then we have a tendency to cheat others.
Yes.
So I'll just stop sharing this. There's a special reason why I wanted to share this.
Mm.
There is something in psychology, there's something called as trauma response. I'll share some info about a video that I'd seen in this regard.
Mhm.
So there is a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. So on his YouTube channel, I saw him describing trauma response. So what he was sharing is, it was a short video. There was a lady, it was a couple, husband and wife. The husband was very, very cool and calm, and the lady was very restless and frustrated and quite aggressive. She couldn't hold herself. So she was very aggressive, and she was physically throwing things down and breaking things down. Now, what this licensed clinical this trauma specialist is was teaching in the video was that actually it's the husband who is the real culprit. It's the husband who is the abuser. What happens is that, say you have been enduring some form of abuse consistently over a prolonged period of time. You are a highly sensitive person, you're an empath, you're deeply intuitive and caring in nature. So, if you're constantly tolerating and going through an abusive experience over a prolonged period of time,
Mm.
you reach a point where you are done with the abuse. And
Yeah.
the pent up of the trauma and abuse starts coming up in the form of this trauma response. So this lady who was being projected as the culprit or the evil one, she is the innocent one. So, and you connecting back to the image that I just shared, you know, sometimes even devotees, we see they behave, in terms of observations, we may observe aggression in their behavior, or we may observe they are criticizing other devotees, or they are fault finding. Now, that's an observation, but we need to be very conscious and vigilant of what can be the potential backstory behind his that behavior. So, what happens is, when we see a devotee who is deviating from the ideal Vaishnava behavior, we get into the diagnose mode, and we immediately start fixing the devotee, not realizing what is the actual story which the devotee has been going through. So sometimes devotees, especially who are deeply empathic and intuitive and highly sensitive, they go through a phase of this trauma response in their devotional life, because one thing also I appreciated, which Mataji shared last time, that we are in minority. And that is so true. Empaths and intuitives are in minority. What to talk about in devotee circles, where we come in even further minority. So these devotees go through an experience many a times because they fall in minority. They feel they do not belong because everyone else around them is of a different psychophysical nature. And everybody is in constant diagnose mode and abusing them and targeting them, finding faults in them, trying to fix them, trying to purify them. And the abuse and trauma keeps building up, and eventually it comes out in the apparently undesirable ways. So we need
Yes.
to understand that you need to sit down with that devotee and personally talk to that devotee with zero judgment. And this is any trauma therapy specialist will tell you this, that before any therapy session also, there is something called rapport building. You don't straight away jump into the diagnose mode. You build a relationship. You help the client, and this principle also extends in coaching domain. You don't straight away start instructing. In fact, coaching is not at all about instructing. You build a relationship, make the other person comfortable enough to reveal what is the backstory. behind his or her, apparently non-ideal Vaishnav behavior. And
Yes,
instead of fixing a devotee, many times a greater need is to love that devotee.
absolutely.
And also connecting that with the story of that old lady, which I shared, I think 2 sessions back, how Prabhupada dealt. You see, Prabhupada didn't get into the diagnose mode,
No.
but seeing through the heart. And also, I in this connection, you have 18.58 Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that by becoming conscious of me, you shall cross over and surpass all the obstacles in your Krishna conscious life. Like that's the essence. So, meditating on that verse and connecting this aspect of trauma response, which is rarely discussed in ISKCON circles.
Mm.
And there is so much demonization of innocent devotees who
Yes,
helplessly struggle with their unmet needs.
exactly.
So, observations and evaluations, just this another angle, which I felt the need from my heart to highlight. Because I feel it's important. Uh, and yes, there is so much more to unpack in this, but I feel that's a good foundation. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you for giving us this additional piece of information to be trauma aware, because I don't remember exactly who said it. Maybe it was His Holiness Pure Krishna Maharaj, but I'm not sure that material world is traumatic for the soul. So no wonder we are all more or less traumatized, being as a spirit souls, pure, eternal, and blissful, sent into this place of miseries and suffering, right? So it's possibly useful reminder for all of us to be really careful with each other. And as you brought this example, Osha Prabhu, that in coaching and in therapy, they never jump directly into diagnosing, but they are building a relationship. And that is, I feel, so much the principle of this, also of the empathic communication. We started talking about intention, that intention is to connect, which means to create relationship first, right? And then out of connection, totally different things may emerge than just when jumping into diagnosing. Yes, thank you for that piece. And one more thing, welcome Indika Prabhu. Good to have you here too. Anything you, yes, please, anything you want to share about the home practice?
Yeah, today there is a power cut, so I am using my mobile phone.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have much data on it, so I will use without video.
Okay. Yes, thank you for letting us know, and thank you still joining us. Yeah, and I heard Osha Prabhu saying, when we observe aggression, then is that observing, or is that already mixed with evaluation? Right? Yes. The thing that we observe might be what was in your wonderful picture, that there is one man with a knife running and another man or other person without knife running in front, and man with knife running afterwards. But if we call it I observe observation, then I'm already not observing, right? Then my mind came in and sneaked in this diagnose. It's aggression. Welcome, Sundari Mataji. So glad to have you here. So it's really, it could be really very subtle thing to untangle observations and evaluations, because the mind of many people, I assume, is so well trained to immediately jump in and put the diagnosis, labels, judgments, etc., so that we may even not notice it ourselves. Yes, okay, I'll stop here. And Sundari Mataji, we are in the middle of sharing home practice. If there is anything you want to share about your practice, then that's the good place. Or if you want to just time for landing, that's also fine.
Sorry that because my WhatsApp cannot open the document that you posted into our chat box.
Okay.
So yes, I can see the inside content within the PDF.
Mm.
I don't know why. And so I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's thank you. That's useful information for me. So I next time instead of document, it's probably good idea to copy the text and paste the text into WhatsApp. Then everybody could open it, right? I'll just make a note myself. Paste text to WhatsApp instead of PDF.
Maybe even send text also as an email.
Aha.
That
Because
might also help.
okay, so to both, to WhatsApp and to email, to like a body of email.
Either
Yes.
the body of email or attached to an email.
Yes, but I suppose the problem is probably because my version or my network, because in China, normally the WhatsApp is blocked by our government, so
Okay.
we should use a VPN. And normally, other post the picture or other document within the chat box we cannot open and see. They always happen. So
Okay.
probably it's not. Yeah, it's not your problem. It's my problem.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Anyway, it's good to know so that everybody would be still getting the information. Yes. Okay, thank you for that piece. All right, and then let's go further. So I will again review shortly what we have done so far in our 6 previous sessions. We started our course with intention, diving deeply into intention. What is the intention behind empathic communication, behind using this beautiful process of empathic communication? And the intention is to connect, including connecting to oneself. And like Osho Prabhu also brought the example that, for example, in coaching, on therapy sessions, these specialists never jump right into diagnosing or whatever, doing their process, but they first take time to build trust, to connect with the person. And our intention is to seek harmony within and without, which means connecting across differences, because we are all different. There are no two similar souls in the whole creation. We are all different. And it's not always easy to connect across these differences. But when we are holding our intention really dearly and strongly, this intention to connect, that's where the magic begins. That's what brings us into same page, at least from the start. And it's really, really suggestible that we try to train ourselves to hold this intention of connection so deeply and so strongly that even when we are upset or angry or don't feel like connecting, we would remember that harmony and connection are the values that we are choosing to live from moment after moment. That we really so-called walk our talk, which is also called being in integrity with our values, with our intentions. And another point about connection and intention is that if we are investing our energy only into what we want out from other person or situation, and we don't have intention to connect human to human, heart to heart, then no matter how strictly we will follow the empathic communication process, our practice becomes simply dry mechanics. And it's even not only in communication, I feel and I have experienced, it is actually affecting also my spiritual practice. If I don't have the intention really to connect, then my spiritual practice becomes dry ritual. So it's beneficial also in our spiritual practice. Otherwise, when we use empathic communication without this intention to connect, this becomes another technique to manipulate others in order to get out what we want to get out without considering others' needs and values and desires. Yes, and we have been looking during previous sessions intention, whatever behind whatever we say or do, like becoming really conscious why I'm opening my mouth or why I'm wanting to take this action. And he also quoted Srila Prabhupada, who said that before becoming Krishna conscious, we have to become conscious. Means we have to become conscious what's happening in our own inner world, our feelings, our needs, our intentions. And then we went to needs, because needs are the core of empathic communication. Needs is the place where connection happens. And we looked at feelings, which are like onboard radar, which shows us direction towards our needs. And we also talked and practiced about taking radical responsibility for our experience. Instead of blaming others for our needs, we take responsibility and realize that our needs are caused our feelings are caused of our own needs that are met or unmet. And that other persons or situations are not causes of our feelings, but they are just like a trigger, something that triggers our feelings. Then we did wonderful skits about 4 Ds of disconnection, and we looked into 2 different cultures. We talked that generally there are only 2 cultures in this material world. It's a life-serving or spiritual culture, or life alienating or material culture. And further, we were looking also into 4 choices in receiving difficult messages, and we discovered that it's not that we have to respond in one way or another way. We have always choice, but most of us probably hasn't been aware that we have 4 choices, not only choices to blame others or to blame ourselves, but we also have choices to connect with our own feelings and needs, and also to connect to other people's feelings and needs. And that makes life choiceful. We are not anymore trapped into these old domination patterns or life alienating patterns, but we are places of choosing which way we want to react to difficult messages. And instead of surrendering either to submission or to rebellion, we can choose different kind of ways and answers. And then we talked about powerful requests, and we were practicing requests and making differentiation between requests and demands. And last time we were looking into observations and trying to distinguish observations, neutral observations, from evaluations or judgments. And we started practice what keeps me actually making requests. And we reached somewhere in the middle with this practice. So let's see if we have time today. Maybe we will go ahead, or we continue it at home. Any questions? Any thoughts so far? Then today, I'm offering 2 things. One is, oh, did I start recording? Yes, I did. Okay. Oh. Yeah, we have been talking about connection a lot But today we go like more particularly into one kind of connection, and that is connection with ourselves. And the other thing I want to show you the bigger picture. What is actually empathic communication? There is a essence part of empathic communication and form. So let me try to start my screen sharing and find the file. Okay. Yeah. So, just a moment. Almost there. Yes. All right. Found right file. And now let's try to share it. Yes. Here it is. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is created by Marshall Rosenberg, who is the founder of Nonviolent Communication Process. And His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj also studied with Marshall Rosenberg and got inspired and found that this is really powerful and wonderful process that could be very useful also for Krishna's devotees, because Maharaj's longing is to transfer our society really into love-giving society, and that devotees would be able to live functional lives spiritually as well as in the material affairs in their lives. So yeah, so this beautiful thing called NVC or EC has essence and form. And in the middle of the essence is consciousness. And let's remind again that Srila Prabhupada stressed that before becoming Krishna conscious, we have to become conscious. Conscious of what? Conscious of our own inner world, conscious of what's going on in us first, and conscious of our feelings and needs, but also such things like we are all interdependent. We are not isolated islands in the middle of nowhere. We are parts and parcels of the supreme big, supreme whole, supreme personality of Godhead, and we are all connected and interdependent on each other. So everything that we do or refrain from doing is not affecting only ourselves, but also others around. And another moment of consciousness is to be conscious that our natural state of being is actually joy of natural giving, joy of giving from the heart without expecting anything back. It's like the joy of the child who is feeding ducks, just joy of giving without expecting anything back from the ducks. And the third moment of consciousness is how do we use power? And this is also very significant characteristics of each of these two cultures that we mentioned, a culture of life-serving culture or life alienating culture. And power with people, which Osho Prabhu brought up in one of our previous sessions, that when we are transforming these 4 Ds of disconnection into 4 E's of connection, then it's empowering. It brings us into frames of culture where we are empowering each other, being empowered ourselves by connecting with our feelings and needs. We are able to empower others, and that we call power with. So this part of the essence are elements like language and thinking. Our language affects our thinking and vice versa. our thinking affects our language. So in a way, empathic communication is like another language, like language. Marshall Rosenberg calls it language of life, because he invites us to talk about what's alive in us, our feelings and needs, and connect with what's alive in other people, their feelings and needs. Life alienating culture, opposite, makes us believe that we and others, we are static things that doesn't change, that there is no life that is changing moment after moment. And therefore, life alienating culture uses language like labeling, judging, which is static, which is not dynamic. And same with thinking. Our language, whether we use static labels or we use speaking about feelings and needs, which are dynamic, that affects our thinking, and our thinking, vice versa, affects our language. And then it's communication, and also communication beyond words, which includes, for example, stillness, which is extremely important when we want to create connection. When we are running in this rat race of our busy everyday lives, then we are very prone to react habitually instead of take time, connect, and choose our response consciously. So stillness is important, to take this moment to be still, to connect with ourselves and others, and also intention, that we have been already talking quite a bit, to remind, to check, what is my intention? Is my intention to get what I want, or is my intention to connect first and foremost? And then use of power, that I already mentioned, whether we want to use power with or power over people. So this is shortly about the essence. And the form of empathic communication or nonviolent communication consists of 4 components, and we have been shortly looking each of these 4 components: observation, feelings, needs, and requests. And their opposites. Observation, we learned to distinguish observation from evaluation. And as you see here, in between is continuum. So none of them is like black and white. We are always somewhere in this continuum. But this these two ends of the continuum gave us kind of like a compass to see where do we navigate, to which side we want to move. Feelings versus thoughts. We learn to distinguish feelings and thoughts. Needs versus strategies, and requests versus demands. And because we learned that instead of believing that our feelings are because other people, we discovered that our feelings are because we need something. So we took this because from outside, blaming others for our feelings, and putting it inside. I feel because I need. So these are the 4 components we have been shortly customizing ourselves. And then there are 3 processes in 3 main processes in empathic communication: self-connection process, honest self-revealing, and empathic receiving process. And today we will start looking into self-connection process. Any thoughts or comments about that? Okay, then I believe there was quite some thoughts. I will include this this scheme also to your homework page, so you can have a chance to look it closer and think about it. And now I invite you to do another awareness meditation. So as usual, I invite you to sit comfortably. Maybe you want to adjust your sitting position and ground your feet on the ground and straight up your back. And this awareness meditation is about resolving an inner conflict. Yes. And yeah. And I invite you to be taking few deep breaths, just to be connecting with your inner world. And if you feel comfortable, you are welcome to close your eyes or gaze softly on the floor in front of you. And focus your attention on your breathing. Breathing is a simple, powerful way to be in the present moment and to connect with one's inner world. So simply notice your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Just notice the air entering to your body and exhale, leaving your body. Now I invite you to look at your current life and see if you can find any should messages. Anything you tell yourself that you should or you should not be doing. And pick one of your should thoughts to focus on right now. And when you have found this one should thoughts that you tell yourself, then I invite you now to listen to that part of you that is saying, you should, da 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 da, or you should not, da 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 da. Just listen to this part of you and try to sense, what does this part, this voice, value or need? What's important for this part? What matters for this part that says you should or you should not? And when you have discovered this value, this need, this thing that matters to this part, take this value. You connect with how precious this is to you. And hold this need or value tenderly in your right hand. Now I invite you to listen to the other part of you that is resisting the part which is telling you what you should or not or should not be doing. the part of you that is resisting the shooting part, that is fighting against this shooting. Listen to that part. What is this part valuing? What is this part needing? What matters to this part? And now, when you connect with the value that this part is expressing, place this value, this need, in your left hand and hold it tenderly as well. You are now holding two values, one in your right hand and one in your left hand. Simply hold both of these values until you experience how much you cherish both of them. And when you are ready, open your eyes or lift your gaze and look around the screen to other participants with the awareness that we are each holding two values that we cherish. Yeah, and I invite you to share now. If you would like to share, what are these values that you are holding in your right hand and in your left hand?
Hare Krishna.
Please.
I can share a little bit. The value I put into my right hand is the background is I start to think about recently it happened things. Is that probably I have to leave my current job, and my mom have a conversation with me, and she said that she want me to find another new job and don't stop, and I have another how to say another plan for my future. I want to do full-time devotee to spread the Krishna consciousness and do some spiritual kind of service. But my mom said it's not her job, and so we have a conflict between this. So internally, I have a kind of attitude or energy to support me to how to say work for Krishna and work on the spiritual way. And another side is my mom's advice, and her attitude is to keep the current career path to earn money for a material company. So I put the right hand as the spiritual one to serve the Krishna and to explore my future with the spiritual path. And the left one is my mom's how to say her advice to let me away from this. Yes. So when I put the spiritual path on the right hand, I feel that I'm keeping encouraging myself to be, how to say, be confident and believe in Krishna and just go ahead without any fear. And on the left hand, I can feel that some energy is keep, how to say, I cannot get the word. Not pushing, is not still pull me back. Yes, always pull me back and hold me to go for my internal how to say, internal desire. Yes. So I have that kind of feeling, and I really want to just put my left hand's energy down to let them go away. Don't stay with me. Yeah. Yeah, that moment. Yes. And I can see that that right hand's energy is really, how to say, stick with me, stick with my whole body, and is fully support me. Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
my experience. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Let me check if I understood you correctly. Is it that internally you also have
Yes.
like two parts? One part is who really wants to pursue this spiritual path and
Yes.
not take material career part, and another part of you is who wants you to listen to your
My
mom.
mom. My mom, yes.
So what might be the needs of that part who wants to follow your mom's advice? What might this part needing?
Be materially secured.
Secure.
Yes, because I can get a stable income, and the life will be really stable and predictable. And the right hand path is not predictable with not a stable income. Yes.
So there is, in one hand, is this need for security, for material security, and what is the need behind choosing the spiritual path?
Spiritual path's need is to serve the Krishna and fulfill my life mission, I think.
And what's important for you about that?
Because spirit Krishna consciousness, I think, is the most important thing in a devotee's life. If we don't do this, any other thing, I think is useless. So.
So are you saying that it's very meaningful for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, gives your life meaning and purpose.
Yes.
Right. So now the in solving internal conflict means that we hold these two needs, like in one hand this need for meaning and purpose, and in another hand need for material security. If we don't how to say, if we don't harmonize these needs, then these two parts keep like being like opposite parts, like fighting with each other, right? Then it means there is internal conflict in us. And now the magic happens when we find connection and harmony between those both of these parts, the part who needs material security and part who needs meaning and life in the meaning and purpose in the life, right? And when we deeply connect with both parts and both needs, not only like intellectually, then we start to find ways where both parts will be happy and in harmony with each other. Does that make sense?
But how can we connect this with each other and keep the balance?
Mhm. You remember needs and strategies. Strategies are different from needs, right? Needs are universal. Need for security. Every person feels need for security, to feel secure, need for predictability, right? And but the need is universal. It's not tied to any strategy. One way, for example, to take care of the need for security could be to choose to work in some company, right? And we may think that is safe, that is predictable. It might be, and it might not be, right? But
Yes.
but in many people in this material world have conditioned to think that this is the secure and safe way, right? Or this
Yeah,
is,
yes.
we may say that this is maybe their favored strategy to meet their need for security. But is it?
Mm,
Especially this very uncertain age, right?
yes.
This security working in some company could be also just be
Mhm.
finished
Yeah.
within one moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
the point is not to let the need go, not to give up the need. I need security, but maybe my strategy for choose to fulfill this need for security is actually surrender to Krishna.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
That
yes,
that
makes sense.
that your strategy to, for example, to commit yourself fully doing Krishna conscious activities might be your choice how to meet this need for security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then is
Yeah.
there conflict between these two parts?
I cannot see it.
Yeah.
I cannot
Conf-
see the
conflict is never in the never in the needs level. Conflicts are on the strategies level, right? One thinks that
yes.
strategy or maybe only strategy to fulfill the need for security is working job, right?
Mm.
Making career. But this is only, and when we are not connected to our need, then we are holding on this one strategy, which is maybe familiar or comfortable, or maybe the only one we know. We hold on it as a drowning man holds on the straw of grass, because we don't see that there are other opportunities. And nothing wrong to hold on it, because if we wouldn't hold on it, then we would lose also connection with our needs. But the more deeply we connect with our needs, that starts to open up this unlimited source of creativity, that there are many, many, many different ways to take care of our needs, including need for security. And then we are not
Yes.
kind of stuck in this one strategy, and also we are not anymore like fighting over whose strategy is right, or better or worse or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I got another question, because you said that in the strategy level there are a lot of options for us, such as not pursue for the material career, but rely on Krishna. But if it's not for a devotee, in their mind they don't have the mindset to rely on Krishna, because they don't know who is Krishna, and they don't know Krishna is the eternal Lord. Yes, so they don't have another choice.
Yeah.
So if for them, what should let them to think about?
Okay, I can share my own example. When I was not yet devotee, not practicing Krishna consciousness, not knowing anything about Krishna, but I was yearning for something deep and real. And I came across already, actually it was before I came across some nonviolent communication. I started to question that there must be something more in life than this rat race, that you eat and sleep and work and eat and sleep and defend and etc. I started to feel there must be something more in life. And I decided to search for something. I was yearning for something real and deep. And one day I felt that it's totally meaningless to continue working where I was working. I was working in one office. It didn't make any sense for me to lift these paper piles from one table to another and do this from one day after another day after another day. And I thought there must be something more in life. And even though it was very scary, I didn't know anything about Krishna, I quitted my job and decided that I will rather starve from hunger than I do this meaningless thing for the rest of my life. So there is, because Krishna is in everyone's hearts, whether they know or not. Paramatma is there, right? When we are not devotees, we call it probably intuition or something. And when we start to listen it guides us. But when we are so caught in this rat race or so scared or whatever, but still Paramatma is there and guiding. And everything comes on the right time, right place. Everyone has different path, different karma, right? Does that make sense?
So you mean probably rely on Krishna is one of devotees, one of our strategy for
Yes,
devotee.
exactly.
Yeah, but from the non-devotee, if they really want to pursue for something, they will have another kind of another kind of strategy, even though they are not sure about it.
Yeah.
But probably they will try to create one,
Yeah, they'll find a way.
generate one. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you too for your question and for your sharing. All right, let's go now to where we are time-wise. We are here. Yeah, let's dive a little bit more into this topic of self-connection. Developing self-connection, I would say, is one of the most important use of empathic communication. Because without being connected to ourselves, how can we connect with others? When we are up in our mind level, just in the thought level, in the strategist level, how can we connect with others heart to heart if we are not connected with our own hearts, with our own feelings and needs? And when we are internally violent towards ourselves, it is really difficult to be genuinely compassionate towards others. It may feel very awkward and artificial when we try to be compassionate to others without being compassionate to ourselves. Because charity begins at home, and we can give others only what we have ourselves. So therefore, our ability to apply empathic communication effectively in our relationships with others depends on our ability to relate to ourselves with empathic communication, or with the consciousness of being compassionate towards ourselves. And that means that we are invited to connect with our feelings and needs moment after moment after moment. And connected with ourselves, it can be done in a different ways. Like, for example, it could be like a self-dialogue when we notice, become aware and conscious that we are judging either ourselves or others. Then we could have self-dialogue and translate these judgments into the language of feelings and needs. Or we can focus inwardly just to experience. Just take a moment of this stillness that I mentioned a little earlier to connect with our physical and emotional feelings and witness our moment's experience. Becoming aware of what we are doing. Are we thinking? Or are we feeling? Are we judging? Or are we observing? Are we sitting or are we standing? Just cultivating, like little by little, this awareness. What are we doing and whether this is meeting our needs or not? And when we were making this distinction or learning about this differentiation between feelings and thoughts, it doesn't mean that we have to now suppress the thoughts and not to think at all, but it's rather to be able to recognize our thoughts with awareness. Because when we recognize our thoughts with awareness, then thoughts doesn't control us anymore. And we become instead aware and choiceful, choosing our thoughts, whether we want to keep these thoughts or not, or change or transform them. And the awareness that is nurtured by this stillness, taking time, taking moment to just check in with ourselves, it's an important aspect of empathic communication, additional to the speech. And the stillness is especially very helpful when we focus on our self-connection. Any thoughts, comments about that? Oh yeah, and in Bir Krishna Goswami's book, Realizing Our Empathic Nature Connected to Krishna, I will actually see if I have it here. I would like to show this book. Okay, it's not close by, but I will put the link to the book also in the WhatsApp group, and this is also in our compassioндrops.org website. Both its link where one can purchase the paper book, and it's also there are links to ebooks which are for free and translated in many languages. I don't remember if it's translated already in Chinese, but could be. So it's good to check out from the resource part in our Compassion Drops website. And there is His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj has a whole chapter that is called Love Yourself, where he beautifully describes how important it is also in devotees' lives and how much we may have these misconceptions that loving ourselves is Maya or whatever, because we may have been interpreting the Shastras in a wrong way, that one has to denigrate oneself, but not at all. So I highly suggest to read this, especially this chapter, Love Yourself. And now I would invite us to do an exercise called Free Ourselves of Self-Violence. And let's do the demo first. So the purpose of this exercise is to become more aware of our judgments and demands that we are making on ourselves, and to practice translating such self-judgments into needs and explore requests and strategies how we could meet these needs. Yeah. So who would like to be doing a demo with me? I think I will. Yeah, I will share my screen again. Yeah, the procedure will be that first I invite everybody to think about some violent self-talk in 3 categories, and I will share these 3 categories. Share my screen. Here it is again. Yeah. So these are the 3 categories. In empathic communication, we understand the concept of self-violence as behavior that causes damage to our physical and emotional well-being, including the use of language that blames and judges ourselves or diagnosis, including the use of language that implies that we deserve punishment, and including the language that demands that we must or should or have to or ought to do something. And I invite you to think of violent self-talk in these three categories. And that would be a demo. If anybody of you would volunteer us as an example, a piece of violent self-talk that you notice you are doing or it's going on inside yourself. And then we try together to translate this statement into observations, feelings, and needs. And as a third point, we do it then together based on the needs that we find. We will try to generate strategies which would address the, and there is mistake here, the unmet needs that we identified. So is anybody willing to volunteer to borrow us a piece of violent self-talk? Just a small thing. That we...
Krishna, I can be the volunteer.
Yes, thank you. So let's, I will now stop sharing and open the whiteboard so we could write it on the whiteboard. What you borrow us. So yes, what could be the piece of this self-talk?
It's a kind of a self-judgment. The background story is
excuse me, just give us just a sentence. We don't need the background right now. The sentence.
Okay. The sentence is I'm not qualified to do this service. I'm useless. And I don't know why I have been assigned to this opportunity, but I really cannot handle it. Yeah, okay. Let's keep to these two sentences you said first. I'm not qualified to do this service. I'm useless, right? This is the let's call it here violent self-talk. Violent self-talk. I am not qualified to do this service. I am useless. All right. Thank you for borrowing this example. Now, what would be the observations when your internal voice is saying this thing? I'm not qualified to do this service. I am useless. What would be the observation in this moment? I can see that I meet a challenge within the process of doing service, and what could be? Could you make an observation of this challenge? What do you see or hear or perceive or describe just specific observation when this talk piece comes up? Observation. Some particular observation my behavior or my feeling. A feeling comes next. Okay, my behavior. Yes. Okay, or situation or situation. Observation is the service is really challenging, and I stop you here. Is the service is really challenging? Is this observation or evaluation? It's evaluation. Sorry. Oh my God. Yeah. Really hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. So what is happening when your mind says, "Oh, it's really challenging," and think about some very particular situation. Very specific. Yes. Yeah. I have a specific scenario. It's a real scenario. Just happened 2 weeks before. Yeah. I have been assigned to do the birthday cake service for my Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
And
So,
yes.
yeah, and one moment from there where when your inner self-talk says that I'm not qualified.
I worked for a long time, but there are several cakes that is not that success. So I'm afraid that probably the whole cake will not be success as well. So I'm afraid
Is that-
that
Yes, these are all the self-talk, right? So what is observing facts? What do you
sorry,
observe?
the cake is not success. It's not growing large. When I put it out of the oven
Uh-huh.
and it's
I take
not that perfect.
out. I take cake out from oven, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's the moment where when you say that I'm not
Uh-huh.
qualified. And how does cake look and cake
The cake is
cake is
really small and not growing large enough.
Let's stop here. Is really small and not large enough? Is that observation or evaluation?
Oh, I think it's is it evaluation? But
Yes. How can we make this into observation?
I think it's not fully been cooked.
Okay. Or cake is not as big as I expected it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have some way to evaluate it.
Yeah. Or
If
as
you are
big.
experienced cooker.
Yeah. Cake is not as big or as high or
Yes.
as I expected, right?
Yes.
Now we added this, that it's not just really small or really big, but it's like comparing to something, comparing to my expectation. I
Yes,
expected it to be like that, but it's like that. Or we could also, observation could be, cake is 2 centimeters high instead of 5 centimeters, right?
Yes.
Yes, so these are clear observations. Cool.
Yeah.
We got observations clear. So how do you feel then when you see that cake is not as big as you expected?
I think really anxious.
I feel anxious.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
Because
really worried.
yeah, I feel anxious, worried because
I'm afraid that the cake will not be good enough as my guru expect. And it's the only birthday cake within the whole Vyasa Puja celebration. Everyone is expecting for the cake. I am afraid that they were disappointed.
yeah. So what is the need there? If you have your needs and feelings list close by, that would be really helpful. Try to grab them.
I need
Yeah.
them to be happy.
Yeah, and why is that important for you?
I'm
that-
satisfied.
Yes, you want them to be happy and satisfied. And what matters to you about that?
But I don't have the ability to fulfill their demand.
If everybody is it okay if we ask somebody else to offer the needs? To guess the needs of yours?
Okay.
Anybody
Yes.
want to guess the needs? When Sundari Mataji sees that takes the cake out from the oven and cake is not as big as she expected, she feels anxious and worried because she needs what? Needs list. Get needs list out if you can. What do I need? Why is it so important for me that could it be need for contribution?
Mm.
Yeah, you just when we are offering your needs, you really check with yourself. Don't just take whatever, right? Check if it's relevant to you. So contribution, you feel it's landing, yeah?
Yes.
Contribution. I want what I'm doing. It would be really pleasing, would be satisfying for others. I want to contribute to their lives. Is that resonating?
Mm.
Yeah, I have need for contribution. Any other needs?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Would it be need for acceptance?
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, if it's maybe, we could leave it just aside. Could it be maybe also need for belonging?
I don't think so. It's because because the background is my guru he is a really experienced cooker.
Mm.
He was the chief cook of the Vrindavan temple. So so he has a really high how to say
High standard.
standard. Yes, for
Mm.
for the food, for everything. So I'm
Mm.
really anxious
Right.
about cooking for him.
Yeah, you really want to please him and
Yes.
be maybe being accepted as a cook, as a baker, cake maker.
Yes.
So does acceptance resonate with you? Yeah.
Yeah.
In this context? Yeah. Okay. And I really encourage you to search out your feelings and needs list. So this is the exercise what I would invite you to do, to find some very, very small, very specific situation, very, very specific, not the whole story. Just remember one moment where you felt some uncomfortable feelings, which probably are caused by your violent self-talk, like this cake thing. I'm making cake, and my violent self-talk is, oh gosh, I'm not qualified to do this service. I'm useless. Pick up observation, very specific small thing from this that is triggering this self-talk, and connect to your feelings. How do I feel when I'm observing that cake coming out from the oven is not as high as I expected? Oh, I feel anxious, I feel worried. And because what I need, I really want to be a contribution. I really want to please them. I really want to be accepted as a servant. Right. Yeah. Any questions about the practice? I will stop sharing the screen. Or maybe I will copy it into chat. Could be helpful. Control copy. Let me see if it comes to chat. Yes, it's there. So thank you very much, Pura Sundari Mataji. And I would like to invite others who were enjoying and benefiting from this demo. Thank you so much. It takes courage to step up and be the demo maker. I want to invite everybody else to share the needs for you that were met by Mataji stepping out and doing this demo. Needs met and gifts received by that. You can either type into chat or say out loudly.
Yeah. For me, I'm Indika. For me, it was very useful to understand my self-violence, because I think I have been violence to myself so much, and it is still happening, and so this exercise helped me to go deep into it and look into what's needs and all that. So this exercise is very useful for me.
Okay,
That
thank
way.
you. So your need for learning was met.
Yes.
Yes. And now we will go into exercise so that we go into how many we are? 3. Yeah.
Mm.
There will be then one
Uh-huh.
group, Chanananda Prabhu, and let's have then 3 + 3 + 3 + 1 minute, 10 minutes all together. So each person will get like about 3 minutes. Yeah. And I will, let me copy the instruction, the chat. The instruction is this to do the same thing that we did now. Instruction, where it is instruction? Yeah, here. Put instruction into chat as well. Here it is. I take turns sharing a self-violent statement and keep it really short. The background story is not needed. Just pick this statement that you told yourself in this moment. Then try translating it into feelings and needs, and which we didn't do right now. You can also come up with concrete strategy or request to yourself, right? And I would like to post also a handout if I'm now finding it. Yes.
You still have Osho Prabhu as co.
Aha, didn't that make you?
Yes, you did make me, but you didn't take him off now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, otherwise you cannot put into groups, right?
Right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, and I try meanwhile to find out this handout. And put it into chat as well. Yeah, you could actually start making notes to find this violent self-talk and write it into your notes. What is it? And then when the groups are ready, then you can share it.
I can open the room.
Yes, thank you. And meanwhile, I'm still not finding my handout. Help, where is my handout? Self-violence. Okay, it's not here. I will stop recording, pause recording. Yeah.
Krishna, I think the most valuable part is to share our personal experience with you, and you can just how to say give us the person-to-person advice, and that's the most important part for us to understanding the practice and the way how we use it into our thinking, our daily life. I think it's really useful. So probably we can just try to involve everyone to set them as example and talk with you, or maybe it's not in public, maybe it's privately, but it will make them to just memorize the whole process and the most important way. Yeah, but for me, it's really useful.
Thank you.
Yeah, because if it's just observe others practice, it's not using within my thinking path, probably it will not work.
Yeah.
My problem is still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So something like mentoring kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Especially for the right hand and left hand connection question I asked with you, and you gave me the suggestion, made me feel that it's just like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And Janananda Prabhu, you wanted to say something in this context. Do you still want to do
Mm.
that?
Yeah, I can do that. When I was about to become a devotee, and because I wanted to keep the relationship with my mother, I kept my job for some time and did some service in my free time. So before I even knew the Krishna Maharaj, and he has a sentence, work on the relationship. That's more important than some issues. But that's me. We are all different, so each one has to choose what one wants to do and can do.
Thank you. All right, our time is over. Thank you so much again for joining, for investing your precious time into these empathic communication sessions. It brings so much joy for me just to associate with like-minded people who also would like to learn it and seeking harmony within and without. So thank you so much, and please accept my obeisances. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasinthubhyavasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namoha. And hope to see you next Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.